Everything old is new again. America's entertainment pop culture talk show.
It may well possess a rudimentary intelligence.
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Felt a great disturbance in the force.
Hello, I'm Mr. Red.
Come on, bark like a dog for me.
Where's the goodies? Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
I bet you wouldn't have done anything like this if Mom and Dad were here.
You filthy criminal.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Here are your hosts, Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Taking over the mic for today's festivities are none other than Barbecue Guy and Fondue Guy. Ladies and gentlemen, Barbecue Guy.
Yeah, welcome. Great to hear. Great to be back. Great to hear your voice there. Listen, Bradford, you gotta lay off the sauce before you start performing the show. Welcome to Everything Old is New Again. This is Douglas Viviani. That was Barbecue Guy. I'm here with the mimic himself, David Cohen.
Yes, good day to you, sir.
Well, I just want to say that we're not having that character, whoever that is, Barbecue Guy,
that was
host the show.
That was a pre-recorded intro.
By a gentleman by the name of Bradford Wells, a character you created.
Yes.
And Barbecue Guy, I mean, let's say you or I, but we created. And Barbecue Guy, I a voice. And just thought it was time to take a moment out of the day, out of our 52 shows a year that are all new, we never do a rerun, and explain what's up with these characters? Where are they coming from? Why do we do characters? Is there a good response or a bad response for the characters? Because once in a while you do hear a strange voice, and naturally stranger than our voices.
That's true. Once in a while.
Yeah, and so we've taken the liberty of taking chances and expanding our creativity for use of the radio to explore and have some fun creating scenes, scenarios, improve characters, settings, and voices. So, I don't know, this is our time to again explore why we do it, is it effective, and is or are characters making radio fun again? So let's just start where it came from. My influence to this is Bob and Ray. They were on the radio, I would say, I think from the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s. So they were on the radio for
long time,
50 years.
Almost as long as we've been on.
Just to get an idea, this is what they did, and this is something we don't hear on the radio anymore. Any skits, any voices, really, for the most part, and it used to be very popular. But here's Bob and Ray doing their thing. See if we stack up.
Do you mean this is going to be a movie, Greg?
Wait a minute. That movie thought isn't a bad idea that you had, Harry.
Oh, that's good. Like some of those Esther Williams pictures where she came up.
Maybe we could have a regular show. I could film it and then release it to the theaters as a movie.
Well, that's possible.
Oh, it sounds, if I may add, sounds harebrained to me.
Oh, Mary, that's a fine way to treat our old friend Greg Marlowe. He is secretly in love with you, and, well, we have appeared in a lot of his productions in the past.
It is, at first glance, kind of a crackpot idea, come to think of it.
Boy, that's the farthest out idea I've ever heard.
Yes, it is. It's a fit subject for ridicule, definitely.
Okay, so every day they would do a 5-minute soap opera called Mary Backstage Noble Wife. Those are 5 voices done by 2 people. You tell me, it's the first time you heard that. I don't know. Could you tell that
I couldn't distinguish one from the other. I really couldn't.
They don't even change they barely change their voices.
Barely.
They do this like Al Hoogland. They get tongue lazy. And they talk high for another guy. What's his name? Whatever. Pop 11.
I'm sure if you listen to it enough, you'll hear the distinctions. It'll be clear. But when you just play it out of the blue, it's like.
Well, do you think it's one? Do you think it's 2 people? I don't know. How does it does it work seamlessly? I don't know. What does it work?
No, not as well as it works with us.
Exactly. So who's doing it better?
We have very defined character. You know that this is a character, not just me, suddenly going like this.
Exactly.
Not to put them down.
But also, if you could tell, Pumpkinhead is there and my Dracula is there. Like, my Dracula is this. And
I did hear that. I heard that. I thought it was an original idea by you. But again, my initial instinct was right. You're nothing but a hack.
Correct, because everything old is new again, so I'm just revisiting that. I would love one day, when that goes into the public domain, to do a new Mary Backstage Noble Wife, because we could do
Yeah.
those voices. Now, what about a female voice? We've never and haven't done female. Do you hear the way he did a female voice? He just kind of talked like that.
I
mean,
didn't even hear. I
Oh.
didn't hear any attempt to sound "quote unquote" female, whatever that means.
No.
but no, I thought it was a guy. And when he said you're in love with him, I figured, wow, that's pretty progressive for back in the 30s. To say
was-
that on the air.
No, that was the 70s, actually, but you're right. But that's Mary Backstage. That was the voice. But I think that was part of the fun, was that the voices are a goof. Come on, relax,
I think it was also.
We're not Rich Little.
It was intentional. I don't think they were. They intended to do it without putting a real distinction among the voices. I think that's part of the shtick.
Remember that there were 5 voices there, and at the end of our show today, whenever you're listening, we are going to do a play for you where we did 6 voices in one show.
That was crazy.
And see how that worked out. I thought it worked out pretty good. But
it's also known around the world right now as let's not be shy here, a masterpiece.
Exactly. It really was. In our own minds.
In our own minds.
Now, so here's us doing 2 voices, Barbecue Guy and Fondue Guy, 2 characters that are pretty popular, believe it or not. We get some good notices, as they used to say.
True.
About them. So
Yeah.
here we go, little piece of this. What kind of wine is that?
It's a rare Indonesian wine from the Himalayas that was grown for approximately 1.7 years, harvested by locals by hand, shipped via a horse and donkey, and then vacuum sealed at a temperature of 23 degrees Fahrenheit, where it was then removed from the airplane, placed into a vacuum sealed pack, and hand carried by yours truly here to the barbecue.
Well, what do? You order it on Amazon.com? You get a 7-Eleven? Where'd you pick it up from after all that travel? Where did you get it?
I met them at the airport, and I took it off.
Let
the plane.
me taste it. Let me see what it tastes like here. Let me see.
You're supposed to sip that. It's very rare type of wine, and
Not so bad. But when I tasted it, wasn't so bad. I'm very thirsty. It went right down. I just drank like half the bottle here. That's all you got is the one bottle of this stuff?
it's very rare.
I know when you go to an airport to get wine. All right. Well, what can I tell you?
It was grown in the Himalayas. I'm sorry, I'm tearing up a little bit. That was so rude. But at least there's a little left.
Ward, Robin from TV's Batman.
Oh, great. Robin's here. That makes me feel a lot better.
Now, when we do it, we have a little bit of a very thin idea of what's going to happen, and then we just kind of do an improv on that.
Right.
And we never retape it.
If you couldn't tell.
So I took that also again. You probably don't know Bob and Ray, but if you do this, you'll hear, like, I figure if they did this for 50 years and sometimes broke up while they were doing it, we could do that too. And so that's sometimes what happens. So the audience hears that we're having fun. Hopefully they're having fun listening as well. So where did that come from? The barbecue guy and the fondue
Well,
guy?
I think you were ranting about something. I think you were just ranting as Doug about cooking or barbecuing something. And so it was just totally innocent. And, I kind of like that rant, and your voice took on a different tone and attitude. And I think that's where the barbecue guy grew. I said, that's a good character, someone that comes on and talks about cooking, about barbecuing. And you just took it and you ran with it. It was great.
Yeah, I got permission to do it almost.
Basically, right?
Because you need to get through a wall of self-consciousness when you're doing improv or you're doing that kind of thing, and not try to be funny. That's another thing. Because a lot of times you go, I'm going to try to be funny, and it just never works that way. I don't know if it's funny. I'm not saying, but we don't go for jokes or punchlines. But that was when we did our half-hour show in the beginning, and we're really just trying to feel out what's up. For you to give me the permission to do it and go along as a straight person. The first time it was just barbecue guy, and then we went to after that
fondue guy.
We brought fondue, which is more or less an odd couple. I suggested to do that.
Yeah, that
and
was
then
a
you
great
ran
idea.
with that, which was great. So let's hear a little of now fondue guy imitating barbecue guy.
Role reversal. I'm going to read it like barbecue guy, though.
And for the skewers, don't forget the skewers. You understand the skewers? I'm talking about skewers here. You got 2 rolls of skillet bread.
I know what it's. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
You got 2 ripe but firm bananas. Ripe but firm.
I'm gonna have to answer you like the fondue guy. Let's see what the fondue guy will respond.
Take a bag of.
I know what
Take a bag of marshmallows.
I now have a headache.
Then you basically put it on the floor, you stomp on it with both feet, throw it on a barbecue, and there you go.
That does not sound very appetizing to me. I'd like to have a glass of wine, some Beaujolais, and a little fondue, and that's all I would like to have.
Can I say that is the most intelligent statement I've ever heard you speak?
What I like is that barbecue guy has still kept his accent, imitating fondue guy.
It was great. Well, he would, right?
Where does it come from? And then I love the way fondue it just goes. It's like an Odd Couple. They just naturally you feed off each other, and all of that is just total. Like you just started doing it, and we jumped on that.
Yeah.
You know, if you like it or not, I hope you like it. But it's
fun for us, and
right.
Really that's the important thing.
Exactly. Well, I figure if you're having fun, hopefully the person that's listening to our show is having fun. So hopefully we'll make it for radio fun.
We can only hope, right?
Exactly. If you'd like to let us know, yes or no, feel free to let us know.
Yeah, listen, if you don't like it, we'll stop doing it.
Right.
Well,
Old New Again
not,
at AOL.com. We'll do it less frequently or something.
Yeah, that's it.
Old New Again at AOL.com. Now here's just a little intro to Mary backstage as we go out.
You're listening to Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
I've got an old newsreel from ancient Greece going to give us a little idea of what is the real story of Hercules anyway.
Hercules, born of Zeus and Hera. Hera was upset about the infidelity of Zeus. When she finds out that Hercules is not her son, in time makes her son insane, and Hercules kills his own children.
Welcome back to Everything Old is New Again. Douglas Viviani with David Cohen. That was a character by the name of Bradford Wells.
Yeah, the old movie tone news kind of guy.
Another one that we're talking about a little bit about our characters here and why we do them, and hopefully explain sometimes when you hear these strange voices on Everything Old is New Again, what's going on besides the other standard kind of shows we do. A little unexpected.
And that kind of came out of, I was just riffing on that once, and you really liked it, and you kept requesting to hear that voice. And because you know what, that might have been the first time we broke it out.
That was definitely the first time for the Hercules show. Maybe a seventh show in of our half-hour shows that we were doing.
And I just remember the old movies, like even Casablanca. You get that voiceover coming in where they crossed the desert through the sand and the dry winds, and marched on and on and on
to Casablanca. But not many people can do it the way you do it. And I just said, you know what? Let's break it up because you were supposed to scheduled in that show just to read that. Sort of. However, and it's too dry. Right. It's just we're on the radio. Let's have some fun. There is some power behind not seeing the voices. And again, we're not trying to disguise the voices, but to put different accents and turns to it, I think is pretty fun. We did that once. We experimented. This is another thing that just came out of nowhere. We were doing a show on the big BFG. Big Friendly Giant.
Right.
And we were talking about getting big and getting small and different movies that do that kind of stuff, 2 different movies and 2 different shows. And so we just riffed into first David getting really small, and then I got really big, if you will.
You're so freaking loud. Could you whisper a little bit?
Oh, you sound like the Fly. You sound like that David Hennessy. Remember?
Help me.
All right.
Could you zap me back?
You gotta zap you back. Okay. This is horrible for you. It really is. Horrible for everyone listening. It's horrible.
Can you walk around, or will you be stepping on people?
I just stepped in the pool. The pool's open now. It wasn't open before. It's open now.
The technology we use to create the large person and the small person is it's unprecedented.
Yeah, I think it pretty much we put our, hands over our mouth, I think is what we did.
Yeah. Yes. Could have done a little better there, but
again, hopefully you're enjoying it. If you're not, let us know. But this is just explaining to you sometimes the thought behind why we do this, and we were doing like
or the lack of thought.
Exactly. We were doing a New Year's show. We wanted to say we're at New Year's, in Times Square.
This is another one
and
coming up.
So this is a different one now, a different time where we were in
New
Year's,
York Times Square.
And we were going down to a reporter, Johnny Jones.
On the spot
reporter, and he was interviewing one of the people waiting for the ball to drop. Somebody can't do a female voice. Bob and Ray did female voices. Standing here for 6 hours. Is there a reason?
I want to say hi to Sally at home. Sally, I'm here. I made it.
Why didn't you bring Sally? This is the problem. Who's the girl standing next to you here? I think you might get yourself into trouble on the radio.
I don't know her, but I've been standing with her for the last 12 hours, and we've become very good friends.
There you go. So we're actually not in Times Square. I'm sure that's pretty obvious.
Wow, I thought we were.
And then later on, just for the same show, we if you didn't, I'm going to redo this because I don't know if everyone got the joke. That the whole thing was a setup to one joke where our reporter's down at Times Square, and he's so involved and he can't go to the bathroom, and he's freezing cold, he doesn't know why he's there, he's miserable, and he just rants about that. And the whole point of being down there is to get the ambiance and the feel of the ball dropping and the crowd screaming for the new year, and this is what happens. And I don't know why I'm even down here. What's the point of all this? Johnny, New Year's just happened. You just missed the entire thing.
I can't believe he missed it. He missed it.
I mean, we got to report it. Johnny, you still there? I'm going home. It's a little short, but
so I forget. He missed it because
he was ranting and raving about how miserable he was down there after interviewing all these people and all this going on.
And the ball dropped right behind him.
He missed it. So if you missed that show, that was our New Year's show of last year, 2018. And then we had these are all like one-time kind of characters, if you will. We had Bruce Banner visit. We did a show about comics.
The Hulk.
Yeah, and this just came out of nowhere, mostly David Cohen's imagination of the temperament of what Bruce Banner would be. We were all excited, thought that being a superhero would be exciting and something that would bring a great ambiance to the show, and this is what we got. Tell us what that's like.
Dude, my life is miserable. I never know when this alter ego will kick in, so I can't have a girlfriend. I can't have a family. So what kind of relationship could you ever have with anyone?
Well,
when the prospect of turning into this monster and killing them is always present.
He kind of brought the show to a
screeching halt. And there's a reason these are one-time characters, by the way.
Again, not trying to hide the voice or anything, just hoping you enjoyed it. Here's one where we did a call-in show on April Fool's. And we were trying to see if we had this one recurring character.
Is this where we're pitching show ideas, or
callers would call in pitching show ideas?
Right.
And we had this one character from Chicago that kept on calling in with ideas of shows that we had already done.
Oh, right.
He did a million of them, and then finally he hit on one. But I don't know. Oh, this one, he has an idea. He talks about a UFO show.
Okay.
I want to hear from the perspective of a dentist.
Yeah?
I want to hear from the perspective of a dentist what he thinks of UFOs. I want the dentist to be live in the studio, not calling in. What do you think of that? Can you pull that off?
We can. We've had dentist Dr. John Viviani on, I think, 5 times. He's been on many times since then. He's probably been on, I would say, 10 times altogether. It was just funny to hear us, or you, mock our... would you say resident ufologist?
Ufologist,
or
yes.
Everything old is new again.
An actual dentist, yes.
And so that we could laugh at ourselves. It's always good. And
yeah,
a good doctor.
Sure.
Nothing wrong with that. And by the way, we do have lots of UFO shows to listen to. We do them all factual. Everything that we present is... presented as facts, and we've got clips and tapes and things, but we do it with a little smile to try to pass the time and have some fun with it. But along those lines, we had a show we did Tarzan, and this is not really a character, but just taking chances is what we're doing with the radio, just trying to widen your horizons and make things fun. David tried to imitate, we both did actually, the Tarzan yell at the end of the show.
Yes.
I'm going to try one more time, right?
Yeah.
Yo, hey, ho, ho, hey, ho, ho. Oh, that's a good one. What did we just
pretty
say?
good.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I think we just had the argument you love to have in Tarzan talk. There you go. That's one of our pitch lines, is that we like to have the arguments you love to have here, and everything old is new again. And so, again, just trying to take some chances. Why not? Instead of just doing a straight show, when you hear the radio now, it's so pretty straightforward. And it's either talk about sports, or we're talking about medicine, or we're talking about politics, or what else is there? Or you're hearing music.
Yeah,
what
they're
else?
all they're scripted with a point of view and very succinct and to the point. Our show, the exact opposite.
we're to an nth degree, a 1th percentage of Curb Your Enthusiasm in that, from what I understand, that they just set up, here's a general idea of what this scene is, go. And they do improvisation in most of I'm sure they throw a lot out. We don't throw anything out.
I like that you're comparing us to Curb Your Enthusiasm. I think it's very bold.
I said 1%, and I even said nth, which
true.
means even less than a percentage. But just saying it's analogous to, I could say.
In some universe, it's something like it.
And if enough of you actually start spreading the word about our show, maybe we will be the next Curb on the radio.
That's right.
Well, we are the next Curb, but we're not recognized because we need more.
In our own world.
Yes.
In our own world, we are the next.
And speaking of our own world, we had this character, this Captain Balzac.
Yes, a captain from the old days.
And that a pirate that we didn't think worked way back when the first time we did it. And he's come on twice since, and I think it worked out pretty well. So let's just listen to Captain Balzac.
Arr, mateys. We meet again.
Okay, is that Captain Balzac up there?
It's Captain Balzac.
Hey, Captain, how are you?
Don't talk to me like I'm your friend, Dougie.
Oh, what? Huh? What happened?
You blackballed me, Dougie, and I'm coming to seek my revenge.
I blackballed you? Really? There you go. That's when we got hijacked by Captain.
Yes, we were on a yacht, right? And Captain Balzac hijacked us. And yeah, it was a very interesting storyline as it developed.
He was revealed.
Took some weird turns.
Revealed not to be a real captain.
What I like about the Captain Balzac impression is that it's not a shticky thing that's been done a million times.
And I know Michelle, your wife, has said on the air when she's visited us that she hates Captain Balzac. Has she explained to you why?
Well, I think subliminally there's a message I should be thinking about as her husband. But, well, I think for the reason I just said, it's shticky, and she did say when she first heard it, it's cute.
Right.
That doesn't fly with me.
That's the very polite way of my wife saying, "Are you kidding me?"
Stop immediately.
I am no longer listening when you have that character on. But we've had him back. We teamed him, actually, with Jack Pumpkinhead.
Oh, right.
Which we'll get to next section, who the heck that is. And Jack Pumpkinhead has taken a life onto his own as well. And now they're a team, and they pitched a show just a couple of weeks ago on Everything Old is New Again. We did a show looking at the ancient, what's the name of that show? Archaeologists?
Yeah, I forget the name, but yeah.
But we had some fun with all the characters, and those two came back and pitched a show.
The show idea
would be fun. So anyway, that's where we're at. We're trying to just ensure that something's different done on the radio. We'll come back and continue explaining what we're doing and why right after this. And Everything Old is New Again.
Now, back to America's entertainment pop culture talk show. Everything Old is New Again, with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Was that called The Big Sleep? Well, among other things, she did sound quite fetching, you're right.
Oh, she's terrific.
It sounds to me like more of a romance story than a detective story.
I have to say, she's quite fetching. I'm a little taken aback. I kind of like to stay right on this. It's an attractive laugh.
Watson, we need to restrict your time on the iPhone.
The gentleman with the fetching woman in the bookstore.
The one that you are fascinated with.
I have to tell you,
She's what?
He's got her hair up, and then when this gentleman, Philip Marlowe, speaks to her, she turns her back to him, and she lets her hair down. And takes off the glasses, the reading glasses. She's really a very attractive. From what I understand, if we continue to do this show, we'll be shunned by every woman that you know and never see.
Perhaps, though. If you're up for it, I think two single men...
I'm up for this one. It's the Big Sleep.
There you go. Welcome back to Everything Old is New Again. We're exploring our own characters, trying to explain to you, the listening audience, what's going on.
And that was Sherlock Holmes and Watson. If it wasn't clear.
Two of our favorite, they've been on about 5 times, I would say.
Yes. Has it been that many? It seems like a lot more, but only 5.
That's right.
All right.
And they seem to they seem to play off each other pretty well. They're starting now to get a little bit. Holmes is getting a little bit perturbed now. I should say Watson is. And Holmes is getting all the accolades, solving all the mysteries, and
he's stealing his. Holmes solves the puzzle, and I'm sorry, Watson solves the puzzle, and Holmes takes the credit for it.
Exactly. And that was a little bit of a little aside about we just went off. I don't know where it came from. Nowhere about the fetching girl that was in the movies. That was in the show about the detectives. We had Holmes and Watson evaluating who is the successor to Holmes and Watson in our popular culture today.
And it took a turn.
And then we had a Halloween show. We've got some other characters, just some repeating characters we've had a number of times. And we've had Dracula, David Cohen doing Dracula this time, Al Capone, and Leonardo da Vinci.
Okay, this is Dracula and my friend Frankenstein. He needs no introduction, but I will introduce him anyway.
What does he like? Do you want the sugar babies or does he want the pop rocks, that guy?
He prefers human flesh, but I think he'll go for the milk duds.
All right, so a milk dud for Frank.
Yes, he keeps his mouth occupied, as you could see.
All right, that's a good idea. How about you? Is that Al Capone?
Oh, looks like Al Capone. He's short, chubby guy with a...
That's a good outfit. How about that? Al Capone, welcome to the party.
Well, no, I am Al Capone. Which mic should I...
Use the microphone right here.
Okay, everyone seems to be confused with the microphones.
Oh, that's Al Capone?
I am Al Capone.
And you spoke like this all the time?
Well, just because history presents it a certain way doesn't reflect reality.
All right, so I guess, I just figured you'd be like a rough and ready kind of a
I am rough and ready. Who is this, actually?
Hi, my name is Leonardo da Vinci.
Oh, I should have gotten it from that, from the get-up, the costume. That's great.
Yeah, thank you. I did the Statue of David. I don't know if you're familiar.
It's funny because you sound like Al Capone would sound.
Al Capone would like the Statue of David. I know he'd like to steal the Statue of David.
I just didn't get that voice coming out of Leonardo da Vinci, but it's great to have you here. We have a selection of modern day, for you, modern day candy.
I gotta be honest with you, it looks like a nice spread. Looks like the Last Supper here, to be honest with you.
He's self-promoting son of a gun. He couldn't stop presenting all of his works of art.
Who knew he was such a marketing genius?
Think about it. Part of the artwork world, even now, but back then, had to be self-promotion to get yourself out there.
Right.
And so he must have been promoting himself left and right. Like, otherwise, who would know? Think about it. Who would know what works he has in his basement?
If he didn't go around the parties bragging about it.
Exactly. Right? So we just went off with that with Dracula, and Al Capone was good. I like that, the little turn on the voice.
Turn on that. Yeah.
So we had some fun with the radio, and again, just trying to make something a little bit different that you hear on the radio. And it's not all the time we do these voices. It's maybe once 5 or 6 shows, something like that.
Yeah,
and it's not always the entire show.
It's not often.
But hopefully you're enjoying it. And now we had a little different take later on. We had the Invisible Man talking to Dracula when we did, I think it was the Victorian Avengers. And we pitted the Victorian Avengers and the Universal Monsters against the Avengers themselves. And they had some discussion. Now, this is a different Dracula. So let's. I don't know if we recognize that we had
Dracula.
Different Dracula on the show previously.
Okay. So what the entity in the Mummy are saying here is that they're blaming the Abbott and Costello fiasco on Dracula. Dracula lost the contest on their behalf, and they've never gotten over that.
If you two fools were alive, I'd kill you right now. If you had an ounce of blood in you, I'd take it from you right now, but you don't.
I love the trash talk by Dracula. It's great.
So I don't know if anyone's laughing at this stuff besides us, but
I doubt
it's just insanity what goes on sometimes. And there was Dracula. Which voice is better? Which voice?
I like your voice because it's not the traditional Dracula voice. I was too much on the nose, I think.
We talked about that too. We said, he said that, that voice in Hollywood is not, just like Al Capone said.
Yeah, it's not reflective of reality. Yeah.
So I actually got a little glimpse of that when Bob and Ray did interviews in Time, and they started interviewing, characters, different presidents, Washington or whatever. We don't know what their voices were like.
Right, so you could just do anything, right?
Anyways, and then we stumbled upon, we visited Oz one time, and we stumbled upon a character of Jack Pumpkinhead. Now, along the same lines of the Halloween show, he then broke in when we had this party, this Halloween party on the air, and he was being chased. And
But you should explain who Pumpkinhead is, because I don't think a lot of people know the character.
He is a character that is
from the original book, right?
Yeah,
The Wizard of Oz.
Was in a couple of books. There's a lot of books. It was in a couple of books.
Right.
He was a hero, and we figured he's the only guy. If you look at that whole series, he's left at Oz. When all the other ones were presented in the movie itself, The Wizard of Oz, he was not even mentioned in The Wizard of Oz. There were some other movies that mentioned him. But he's a character I said, let's do something different with Wizard of Oz. Everyone has talked about The Wizard of Oz, how great it is and all this. So we actually visited there.
So you went back to the books and found this character that never made it into the the famous movie,
right? And
now,
thought,
what would he be saying if we gave him some airtime?
It'd be pretty. Wouldn't he be upset? He'd be like
very upset.
Be like the Pete Best of from
Wizard of Oz, right.
He's like, what? I'm left here, and he's looking for work. It's been 78 years, and he's had no work, and so now he's become a mainstay in some ways to the show. And here he is breaking in to our show on Halloween because he was chased by kids at Halloween. 'Cause remember, he's a being with a pumpkin head.
Yeah. Right, Pumpkinhead. Yes. Why are you stressed out like this?
It's unbelievable. Everybody, I'm the present jack-o'-lantern. That's on everybody's front porch.
Oh, so there are kids chasing you.
They're chasing me because I'm a live pumpkin. I'm a miracle. You know, I'm a miracle,
oh my
right?
God!
So
yes.
I'm a live pumpkin, and the pumpkin head walking around. They want to pluck my pumpkin head and put it next to their omnipresent jack-o'-lantern on their front porch.
Wasn't easy to say with that tongue in cheek, if you will. But there he was. So we'll take a moment here. Which of all of these characters come alive to you, or do they all? I mean, any of them fail? Any of them really work? Where do you stand on that?
Me?
Yeah. Any of them on the list we've done so far?
You know what? Because I haven't heard them since we did them, and. Didn't really hear them originally, other than when you and I are here in the studio actually doing these characters. Right. I like all of them.
I mean, they do work because you can suspend that disbelief because you're not looking at the people on television doing it. That's what's great about radio.
Yeah.
And you could just, once you get over that smidge of, what is this? And then you go, oh, okay. And you go with it. You can go down a pretty fun, cool ride with the hosts when they do stuff like this.
I agree.
And I know... Howard Stern used to, back in the day, in the NBC days when he was just starting out in New York, because he was in Washington before then, he did have some characters and did some plays and all that. And then it turned off color, as he would do down the line, and then he stopped doing them. But he even had a period there where he thought that it was interesting and fun radio. For years and years he would do that. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't. That's how long ago that was. I don't remember that.
He actually, when he started in New York, he had every time he would say something funny, he had a drum and a cymbal.
Oh, wow.
And he hit the drum and cymbal.
Boy, he came a long way.
Now he's I don't know how heard he is now because he's in Sirius.
Radio,
he could be heard a lot, but I don't know how many people are listening and get a lot of news, the words, and so forth. That it's not all that listened to anymore as he was. But that's a story for another day. But he's one of the leaders in the industry, and he started doing these things as well. Just throwing it out there that it is something that's been done many, many times by many characters, many people, and I don't think it's something that is that foreign to the radio.
So we're like Bob and Ray. We're as good as Curb Your Enthusiasm on the radio, and as good as Howard Stern. Is what we're really trying to say here.
I'm actually saying these are our influences. We're striving to become a modicum of what these people were.
Well, yeah, you're kind of walking that back a little bit, but okay, I'm with you there.
And so, if you're enjoying it, please feel free to let us know at oldnewagain@AOL.com. If you're not, it's oldnewagain at AOL.com too, or something like that, where you don't get that email. Oldnewagain2 at AOL.com for the negative responses. Just kidding, but we would love to hear what your thoughts are in this regard. We'll be back right after this to finish up talking about all these characters and what's happening on Everything Old is New Again.
This is Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show. with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
You had this barbecue guy. You got a fondue guy. I'm a guy. I grow pumpkins in my backyard every single day. I got to replace my head like once a week. I am an expert grower. Like, I could talk about farming for a whole show. I can talk about farming.
There we go. Welcome back to Everything Old is New Again. That's famous Jack Pumpkinhead pitching himself to us, one of these, I guess it was on the April Fool's show, calling in. And that's a show that we did recently that was really experimental. We had basically 6 characters on the entire show, David and myself, and then I had Dr. Watson, myself, and Holmes was yourself. Then there was Captain Bolzac as you, and Pumpkinhead me. So I had all 6 of them on the show at once. And I don't know, I think it worked in that you could tell who was who, for sure. And it was pretty... If you stuck with it, it was pretty interesting because it did have some mystery to it because they had the artifacts that were presented, and we had Holmes and Watson on the telephone from the Victorian era. We've perfected
a little time jumping, right? Time travel.
Do that, and that's been fun communicating with Holmes and Watson and getting them to authenticate. Although it's caused a little bit of a rift between Holmes and Watson at present, so stay tuned for all of that. And if you like all of that, let us know. oldnewagain@AOL.com. But let's listen to that. Just to finish, put the cherry on the top of the idea of this is what we're trying to do every so often. This is not what we do 100% of the time, but every so often we'll have a character or two show up in the show when relevant. Like, why do we do it? When do we do it? Well, that's a good question.
Yeah. Are we answering that now, or are you playing the clip?
Yeah, feel free to answer that now while I set this clip up.
Why we do it? Because it's fun. And listen, when you're doing as many shows as we do, you need a little break from the norm,
right?
And it's mostly about you and I just
having fun,
like we did back in the day,
right? And we're hoping that it brings some fun to the radio. Before we get to that clip, actually, I want to hear Bernie Baumgarten pitch Pumpkinhead.
So Bernie Baumgarten is an agent. He's like a Hollywood agent, except he's based in Oz,
and he's for 78 years been getting work for everyone but Pumpkinhead.
Right,
Pumpkinhead. What are you doing? I said you're not a villain. You're a Bond. You got to listen to me. I've been in the business for 50 years. I'm the agent of Oz.
Listen, buddy, how is it possible that a guy with a pumpkin head is going to kiss the women and have a nice little time with them on the gondolas in Venice?
Wait a minute. Are you saying you'd rather play the villain?
Yeah, of course I want to play the villain.
Oh, so that was the James Bond. He was Bernie Baumgarten was pitching Pumpkinhead to audition for to be the next James Bond.
And it was a complete mess because in the script, per se, we wanted it to be different, right? We were saying that he was going to pitch that Pumpkinhead would be the villain. So even on air, we didn't even bother changing it.
I screwed it up.
But it worked out beautifully because
it was funny.
A comedy of errors that actually worked, I think worked for us because we said, no.
That's right, because when Bertie Brillstein says, wait, you want to be the villain? Yeah. It was like me saying, oh, man, did I just mess that up? Oops.
And then we went into why and all that. So it was perfect. It worked out. Now, some of them don't work. I don't.
Some.
It doesn't always work out.
I think some do work.
And from time to time, they work. So that was that, and that was our little look into what's it all about. Let's put it together here with the show that was about American Pickers is really what we took.
Okay, yeah, so set up. So the premise was what?
The American Pickers, we were trying to get these people, the 2 guys, if you know that show, on the air. They've never responded to us. We're in Iowa all over the place on a great station, KXEL and a couple others, and we're not getting any response from
the
them.
actual guys on the American Pickers.
So all right, we're going to do it ourselves then. And we had Pumpkinhead and Captain Balzac pitch a show to us, and we said the way they're going to authenticate these archaeological finds is that we're going to have Holmes and Watson
going back into the Victorian era. Holmes and Watson are going to look at it and say whether it's real.
Exactly. So here's a little piece of it. It's a long clip. Have some fun with this, and we'll be right back to complete our discussion.
Watson, you get all the credit in the world. Without you, I could not solve these mysteries. You are the one who is my faithful companion, who gets me my liquor, who puts warm, comfy slippers on my feet. You are invaluable.
Watson, do me a favor. That you're on Skype here, and that phone is not being held steady. I'm starting to get a little seasick.
I think he's a little upset.
Please, Balzac, do me a favor. Hold this up for Watson to hold up so that Sherlock Holmes can see this diary.
An actual diary. From the mother of George Washington. Look at this.
Now it says something here. There's a script. She signed something, and it says the following:
someday my son will be president.
Listen, I understand.
Interesting.
President. Someday your son will be president. Now, let's get it straight. George Washington was born in 1732. That's a common knowledge. Everybody understands. George Washington was born 1732.
Now, he was born in England, right here in in jolly old England. And
He sure was.
he moved to America.
The hero of the Indian Wars, if you remember.
Right, where he then became president of the... I have solved the mystery!
He became President of the United States. What year did he become President of the United
I
States?
have solved the mystery.
He became President of the United States in 1789.
This is a forgery because...
He was the first President of the United States.
Exactly. There's no way his mother would have predicted that he would be the president of the United States
pretty much like
of
this.
any country, really.
I just said,
No, I understand the frustration, Watson. I really do.
Listen, guys, I don't know what you talk about. All I know is that Sherlock Holmes solved it again.
Yes, he did it again. He did it again.
He's unreal.
It doesn't take him that long either.
He doesn't.
you know?
He gets right to it. He gets right to the point.
I gotta tell you the truth. This is indomitable.
All right, look it.
This discussion is
I
indomitable.
just want to tell you here, this is a legitimate diary. I'm telling you, it's his mother.
I'll
It's
tell you
his
what.
mother.
Listen, this partnership
She
was
didn't
not
care
working out.
whether he's going to be president of America. She just knew that he'd be president somewhere.
President of what?
sometime.
President of what? The Girl Scouts? What are you talking about? This is unbelievable. Cannot be. You cannot continue on this fantastical evaluation.
Pumpkinhead, don't listen to these guys. I'm right.
I'm very frustrated. I wonder if Spock really is as wonderful a gentleman as this Holmes is. This Holmes looks like he's indomitable. I've heard this before. Trust me, he's an indomitable individual. You want to spend some difficult times, some difficult days. You spend it at a bar having a libation with this guy, and he doesn't even prick up a tab. He's like, no, there's nothing going on here.
I like at the end how Watson has suddenly a Queen's accent, and not the royal Queen.
But
Yeah, listen to this guy.
His anger brings out the true
the
Watson.
Bronx in him.
I
yeah.
love how he goes back to the bar, and he keeps on going back to the fact that they still have this bar tab, this large bar tab.
Oh right, yeah,
And
yeah.
they keep-
That they're refusing to pay.
and he just schism is getting wider and wider. I think it's pretty.
But
funny.
I think the seed of the idea, the spin on Holmes and Watson that we've been doing, which I think is good, is that with Sherlock Holmes with the declaring, "I have solved the mystery." When obviously if you listen to it, it's Watson who came up with the solution himself.
Right, he's just feeding him.
He's feeding the information
like,
before
by the
Watson
way-
exactly, and before Watson can put together the conclusion. Holmes cuts right to the chase and claims credit for it all.
Right, which which I think is again, back in the day, how do you know that it wasn't? I mean, he's a fictional character, but how do you know that it wasn't Watson really solving the problem or the mysteries, and Holmes just like a great, marketer of the ideas? So. Now, would that work when you listened to it the first time you heard that back between the voices? And I clipped here and there because I wanted to put things together. Then the conversation with Spock, for example, came out of organically something else. But could you tell? You could tell who the different voices. No,
For the most
because
part.
not an accent.
Yeah.
You was straight. Then you had the accent as Holmes, and then you had Balzac. So you could tell those are different characters, right?
I think so.
So for the most part,
so.
I think they all,
Yeah.
Pumpkinhead's obviously, and Holmes and Watson are pretty distinctive.
I mean, considering there were literally 6 characters talking in that scene,
right?
That's tough to pull it off in general. So yeah, maybe.
Wait, is that a knock on the door here? What? Who's
Oh.
that? Oh boy!
Oh, it's the barbecue guy, and the fondue guy. Wait, hold on.
Yeah, get the door, will you please? Yeah.
Please, barbecue guy. We discussed this before. Let me speak to them. Let me
All right, go
try
ahead.
to
Go
talk
ahead. I'm
some
a little
sense.
upset. Go ahead.
I understand that. So, Douglas, David, first of all, apologies for the intrusion in your show.
Yeah, it's good to see you, though. I don't know how you found the studio, but okay. It's good to see you, Fondue. Thanks for
Well,
coming.
the Google is an amazing device.
Okay,
isn't
we only
it?
have a few minutes, though, so what are you here for?
Barbecue Guy was very upset over the fact that there are apparently characters that you guys are doing that we're not really aware of.
Yeah, there's a lot of characters here. I'd like to know why is all this time being spent on these guys, Holmes and Watson? These guys, what is that? What this Pumpkinhead? What is this Pumpkinhead guy? Is this fictional? Is it real? The Wizard of Oz is not even real. Why am I getting part of this royalty at the very? Why don't I get some showtime? What's happening?
So Yes, so the barbecue guy, and I concur with his thought.
Of course you concur. How do you not concur with this? Hey, listen, guys, we're doing the best we can. There's plenty of airtime. You don't have to worry about it. We have you back. You've been back for the best of shows.
How did you guys, like, why are you visiting? I mean, you could have texted us. You could have, like, called. Like, what?
I'll tell you, what's his name there, the Fonduman. He wanted me to go ahead and text you or give you a call. I said, no, nothing better than in person, up close and personal. By the way, I'm going to the baseball field. This bat is not here for you. This bat is not here to intimidate you. I have a bat here because I'm going to play some softball, even though it's November.
I can vouch for that because I also am on the team. Now, I tried to get him to text, but he refused.
Forget text. I want to know one thing. We have no time. We have no time for you fondue, okay? This is not a chess match. The idea is this. I want to know why two guys that are dead for 150 years are getting more airtime than me. And fondue.
He's referring to Sherlock Holmes.
I get the Holmes. Yes, I understood that.
Yeah, Dave. I mean, it's a point, but it's a miracle of science that we're able to talk to people that have been around or were around 150 years ago.
Douglas, there's a pirate that gets more airtime than we do.
That pirate. What kind of name is that, by the way? It's made up a fictional name. I don't even appreciate that pirate. He's not a real pirate. I found out. He plays children's parties.
Captain Balzac, it's a double entendre that I personally don't appreciate.
All right, listen, guys.
All right, look, why don't... Yeah. Listen, there's a time and a place to do this, and I don't think that...
I think I'm going to contact this Bernie Brillstein. I got to get this Brillstein. Do me a favor. As far as I'm concerned, we're going to get out of here. Let's get out. Come on, go. Yeah, I'm slamming that door.
Oh, whoa.
These guys are upset. All right, well, I guess what we're going to have to do is we don't want to lose them.
No, that was unfortunate.
We'll have to email them and try to get them back on the show. All right, we'll be back next week to go back on track, and everything old is new again.